biggest issues plaguing modern men is that the vast majority of them lack a tribe of other virtuous, trustworthy, masculine men who gather for the sole purpose of improving themselves and their lives on a daily basis. Most men simply float through space, working a dead-end job, only to go home to a nagging wife or girlfriend that doesn't respect them. Their friend circles are nothing but fat, low testosterone losers who are more concerned with what sports teams are playing this weekend and what bar they're going to watch the game at. If these men are lucky enough to unplug from the comforting lies that modern society sells them and decide they want more out of life, they look around and realize they need to get into a better room. That's where a private community of men chasing excellence comes in. Men in our community have all committed to being the best versions of themselves that they can possibly be. They willingly run toward challenges, knowing that pushing themselves out of their comfort zones is the key to unlocking their true potential as men. If you're ready to take control of your life back and curate a network of successful and knowledgeable men, now is the time to seize the opportunity.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're on the 35th installment of the Unplugged Alpha. We're finishing the last 3 red flags in the 21 red flag chapter, which is absolutely free. You can get that opted in my email list. So let's wrap this up, Moff. We got 3 more items to cover, and we'll move on to something else. It's taken a few weeks to get through it all, but this is the most expansive, detailed conversation you've ever seen on this topic of the vetting process, which you guys should get good at, should understand, should be able to spot problems in. So this is why we do this stuff for you. And as well, we've dropped the call-in link again in the live chat of YouTube. So if you guys have a question you want to call in and ask us, we'll save that for the end of the show, but you can click and join anytime. Super chats will get thrown up on the screen as you drop them. If you have a question or anything that you want to pose to us as we're doing this. Got anything before we kick it off, Moff?
No, let's dive in.
All right, let's dive in. So the next one we have is drama queens on the list. Do I need to read that chapter out of the book, or is this like monotonous?
Might as well. I mean, you can grab it.
All right.
I would.
The drama queens, eh? Read by the author himself. Let's grab the drama queens. Drama queens are a real pain in the ass. They really are, if I'm being honest. 71. This is actually the first edition. I got to get more copies the second. I keep passing them out. I didn't change this in the second, but lots of other stuff. Red flag. All women, not just some, periodically crave some form of drama. If they're bored and if there's no issues in the relationship, they'll manufacture indignation to test you and create those feelings. Drama queens choose random molehills to turn into mountains. It's also another form of a hissy fit. We talked about hissy fits a few weeks back. You can go back to that episode. You really should watch these all back to back, one after the other. They're kind of in a nice sequence, so it flows. I guarantee that you'll encounter drama with women at some point, but if it appears more than once within the first 3 months of dating, or more than a weekly thing during your LTR, she's flat out telling you this drama will be a regular occurrence for life. I remember this this buddy of mine used to sort of track conflict and indignation in his relationship, and he almost had a spreadsheet going for it. It was like every 72 hours, so something would come up, and then he'd just be like, "Oh, it's another 72 hours. You want to break my balls about something," sort of thing. So the frequency doesn't let up. It'll certainly increase as time goes on if drama is something that happens. Buckle up, buddy. You'll be in for a roller coaster ride if you don't put your foot down and use a soft next and maintain boundaries. Soft next is what you use early on. You just basically ghost her for a couple of days. You don't acknowledge any messages, phone calls, texts. It's very clear by your unavailability to her that something has gotten under your skin, and she pretty much knows what it is. I mean, after a day or two, you can circle back and just basically land on, hey, you understand that's not acceptable. You're not going to be doing that stuff again, yeah. And that's basically that a soft next is handled. But I mean, we've talked about that a million times already. Manufactured indignation is really just a shit test that also is about testing your frame as a dominant frame in a relationship. Remember, drama will happen with all women at some point. So decide early on what you will, and more importantly, what you won't tolerate. Unplugged alphas with plenty of options will tolerate little to no drama. Lesser men with few options accept more as it comes. Drama Moff. What's your experience been with women in drama?
Oh man, a whole lot of it. I mean, look, like women are in this aspect women in this aspect, it's often said that women are like cats, guys are like dogs, but women are a lot like newborn puppies when it comes to indignation and attention. Like I used to have a puppy, I used to have a dog a couple years ago, and I was talking to another buddy of mine. He's like, man, he keeps chewing up in his crate. He keeps doing this. He keeps bothering me. He keeps, freaking out and chewing stuff. He's like, yeah, he's just bored. You're not paying enough attention to him. He's going to like throw a hissy fit. He's going to be trying to get your attention and he's going to be acting up. And it's like when dogs bark or like when puppies bark in their crate or something like that. If you bark back or you yell back or you try to do something or discipline, it's learned behavior where they're going to continue to do it. The difference is that it's kind of messed up how women both derive sort of pleasure or stimulation from causing drama and stirring up arguments, but at the same time, it works against them. So on one hand, they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting his attention because I'm bored, or because we said like you can't bore women. Like she's bored. There's no excitement going on. Maybe you're not doing what you need to do in the bedroom, or you're not properly dating or courting a woman like you should be when you're in an LTR or something like that. So she starts all this BS to get your attention. You give it to her, but then she gets you riled up and you roll around in the mud with the pig, so to speak. And she's satisfied in that moment because she's vindicated in her attention-seeking behavior. But at the same time, she goes, wow, this dude got rattled by me, or he decided to get emotional and he decided to meet me where I live. And maybe this is not the guy that I thought he was. Maybe this is not the guy that's going to draw healthy boundaries. Maybe this is, if I can bait this guy over laundry being in the wrong pile, or toothpaste on the sink, or the toilet seat left up, or the toilet paper faced the wrong way, or whatever the little tiny BS thing that she's going to bring up, and that's going to set you over the edge, or you're going to get into an argument, then she's thinking, wow, how is this guy going to act when he's really pressed by an actual threat, or when somebody tries to potentially do us or me harm? How is he going to react? Because he's going to freak out. He's going to be out of control. And so, yeah, I mean, like we talk a lot on this channel about when you're dealing with this kind of thing. First you need to do as a guy, you need to recognize what this is. You need to recognize that women are going to be women, and she's going to start stuff just to start stuff because she's bored. And so rather than take it at face value and just say, why can't you be like this? You have to understand why she's doing this. And hey man, if you chose to be in an LTR, this is something you're going to have to deal with one way or the other. The frequency of these tests and these freakouts should be less and less, or fewer over time, but they're never going to completely go away. So you just need to recognize what they are. And then from there, you can properly correct the behavior. I tell people all the time, and a lot of people don't like this, that we're just animals at the end of the day. And we share so much of our behavior with other animal species across the animal kingdom. Just because we're out of the food chain, we waste our time on stupid stuff like happy Pride, by the way, Rich. We waste our time on retarded stuff that doesn't matter because we're out of the food chain. So this is just another telltale sign. This is, like you said, hissy fit, shit test, whatever you want to call it. But if you are getting thrown off center, like this can be a quick end to your relationship if you don't know how to properly recognize it and you don't know how to properly deal with it.
Yeah. It's always going to happen. And the key to this, along with many other things that we've talked about for the past several weeks, is the more attractive you are, the higher the value that you have as a man is, the easier it is for you to deal with this and many other things. I've literally heard men on the top shelf dealing with nonsense just shake their head and just be like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, not now, right? And it stops just on that. But most guys don't do that. They'll sit there, they'll entertain it. Oh, tell me more about this molehill that you want to make into a mountain. Tell me more about the way that I looked at that girl when she put the check on the table, and she's smiling at me and I accidentally smiled back. So like, let's keep talking about dumb stuff, right? So engaging in it, like Moff said, there was, that pig in the mud thing is straight out of a James Altucher blog somewhere out on the internet that I came across 10 odd years ago. And he was talking about how when a pig wants you to engage with it, it does things to bring you down to its level. You know, you're going to roll around in the mud because that's what it wants. It likes that. It enjoys that. It enjoys the connection, the, you know, like women like that connection, you know what I mean? Like they want to, in the absence of something in their mind, they will manufacture something to fight about. Okay. That's just chicks. The vast majority of chicks will just do stuff like that from time to time. They might be bored. You may not be giving them enough attention. They might be suspect of you up to something that they don't like. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Like women will try to draw this out of you. The stronger your frame is, the better able you are to lead, the higher your value, the more attractive you are. The easier it is for you to just knock it out of the park and just shut up. That's enough. Like just stop it. Zzz. That's another guy that he used to just go. Zzz. She would just start with some nonsense and he would just be like, zzz, and then she would just stop because she knew, right? So it's like, you know, you kind of have to go through the motions a little bit. She's kind of testing your frame. She wants to see if your frame's a dominant frame. She wants to kind of play these games. Sometimes it's to get your attention. Maybe you're not giving her enough attention. I mean, you know, if you disappear for a couple of weeks and you don't acknowledge her, don't be surprised if she manufactures drama, right? Oh, you don't care about me. You don't love me. Well, you just send her a good morning text if you're traveling, if you're on business, whatever. You know, just keep her engaged. LTRs are going to be some work for you to manage, guys, and there's going to be some drama that comes along with it. But drama queens, like women that constantly like make mountains out of molehills, that's really the litmus test. Is this molehill something that she's trying to turn into a giant mountain? And you can just tell her, say, look, babe, don't make mountains out of molehills. That's enough. You can drop it. Zzz, that's it. And you just kind of move on. You don't have to have a discussion, a sit down. Let's get people around and like sort of work this out. Just, babe, that's enough. Zzz, and you sort of move on. Okay. Like once you do that enough times and she understands that you don't have the patience or the tolerance for it, or that it's silly, or that it's a molehill that she's trying to make a mountain, she'll get the message. Now, if she doesn't, then it's up to you to decide, right? You know, do you want to keep putting up with that nonsense, or are you going to walk away and just replace her? Right? It's very simple. You're going to get a life what you tolerate.
I think there's a good buddy of mine who is really good at this. You know, he and I talk about this quite often, and he has recognized he's I know when this is a discussion and when this is we're just gonna screw off for an hour and not talk to each other and we're gonna come back, it's gonna be fine. He's like, if we had to sit down and have a knockdown, drag it out argument in my feelings, and I felt like this when you said that, every time they had a little bit of a spat or a disagreement, he'd go insane. So it's, you know, being comfortable with, like you said, sometimes you just got to tell her to shut up. Sometimes you just got to say, hey, listen, you're being an idiot right now. I'm not going to listen to this. I'm going to walk out that door. I'll see you in 2 hours. And I expect everything is going to be fine by the time that I get back. So, you know, but so many of these guys walk on these eggshells and they think that if you annoy a girl or you piss her off or you don't placate her in these hissy fits and these making mounts out of molehills, that she's going to go looking for some other guy. She's going to, we see guys in the comments all the time, like, oh no, like it's why LTRs are dumb because you have to play her game or she's going to go find Chad. It's like, that's really not going to happen. Actually, it's the opposite. If you play her game, then she's far more likely to leave because she's going to see you as weak. Like you don't know how to hold frame. You don't know how to be a disciplinarian. You don't know how to stay on your mission and purpose. You're letting some girl who's, again, let's be honest, like most women don't have any idea what it's like to be a man or live in the man's world. And actually none of them do. So a lot of time women's problems don't nearly stack up to men's problems. Men are trying to keep a roof over your head, food on the table, bills paid, the lights on. Meanwhile, she's like, I don't really like the fact that I have to separate the darks and the lights when we do laundry. So I need to have two different things, or you need to put this thing over here. I got this brand new shoe thing. So we put your shoes in this thing now instead of the floor. Like those are what women worry about all day. Mm-hmm. Through no fault of their own. Don't get me wrong. Like you can't get mad at it at the same time. You can't be like, I want a woman that sits there at home and doesn't do anything, but then get mad about the problems that she brings you. So, but you know, like relationships, LTRs, they're hard work and you've got to always be on your game, and losing frame is the kiss of death. So vast majority of guys are really need to take heed of these kind of flags and really not make sure you're not going through the motions, because you slip up, maybe she'll be forgiving 1 or 2 times you sort of slip up, but she finds enough chinks in your armor, dude, it's done.
Yeah, we should, before we move on, I just want to share a story of our mutual friend, Larry. And we've talked to Larry together and separately many times, and he has almost a zero tolerance policy for any drama, which means that he never really gets into an LTR. You know what I mean? Like there's always like a rotation with him, and he's just like, yeah, she wants him after a few months to come and hang out with little Billy's birthday party, like her nephew or something like that, and there's going to be some people around, and he just doesn't want to do it. He's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then he'll just not do it.
Yeah, right? I'm good. Yeah, I'm not good.
Yeah, I'm good. And that usually ends at that, and he doesn't tolerate any of the drama, doesn't deal with any nonsense, and then just sort of part ways and just replaces her. So
yeah, and he's willing to walk away from an entire relationship over something like that. That's
hardcore.
Now, at the same time, he's a guy who never going to get married, obviously, but also never wants to have kids. So he's already made peace with that. He's kind of said that, where I've said once, I've said 100 times, I think the only real reason if you're going to be in an LTR at any point is if you're going to have kids. Like marriage is already off the table. We already know that. If you're going to have kids, it's probably beneficial to have a stable long-term relationship with one woman. We talk about the cohab thing, but in any case, that's the most stable sort of unit for having kids is one relationship with one woman, or at least a primary woman. What you do on the side, that's your business if that's what you want to choose to venture out on. But yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it. And he's one of the happiest dudes I know, man. He's just like, yeah, he goes, I will never do anything that I don't want to do. And if that means that I really like this girl, but I don't want to do this, and she wants to walk out the door, then I send her packing, and that's it.
That's it.
So more power to him.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. We've got addictions on the plate here. So addictions, addictive personalities, dependency to things, activities, or substances is a big red flag. Women that rely on alcohol, shopping, drugs, cigarettes, news outlets, reality TV. These are just some examples, right? So Bachelorette, Bachelor, getting caught up in Love is Blind or some TV series or something like that, just going on about it all the time. It can be highly problematic to a dude that's sort of chasing excellence in his life. He's out there trying to put a dent in the universe. These unhealthy addictions that women get obsessed with, if left unchecked, will dominate her life, her choices, her conversations, and your relationship. Addicts usually become self-destructive. If it's affecting your life, then it has become an unhealthy addiction. A woman who's addicted to reality TV shows will talk about the mindless drama between characters in a show nonstop. Alcoholics are always looking for the next drink. And anyone that's ever dated a woman that's addicted to antidepressants knows how badly it affects her body weight and her lack of sex drive. Don't let women that make their addictive problems your problems. Smart men don't invite these women into a long-term relationship, especially the ones that have these addictions. It's not your job to save or cure them. If they've acknowledged that they have an addiction and are working on their problems with a professional, good, let them. But keep her at arm's length as a plate until she's shown genuine progress for several months. Also make sure her addictive personality isn't replaced with one addiction for another. I haven't hung around with female friends that often in my life. You guys know my take on that. I think that, men and women, it's like relationships, sex, FWB, whatever it happens to be. But there's usually like an intimacy component associated with it. And most guys that I've noticed that have addictions, they have it for a lifetime. If they're addicted to like smoking or drugs or alcohol or something like that, what they'll usually do is they'll go through AA and then they don't touch it ever again. That's it, because they know that they have like a bad addiction. So with women, the way that I've seen it pop up with them is it's like smoking is, obvious thing. She knows smoking is not good for her. She's reading a book or getting hypnotized to stop smoking, to kick the addiction sort of thing. That's a clear indicator. So that's a good thing, right? Another like unruly or unheard of often type of addiction is like women like to shop. Okay, Moff, you know this. Chicks dig shopping, whatever. And I've seen situations where chicks will go out and they'll buy like 4 or 5 lampshades or 4 or 5 different lamps, and then they'll bring them home and try them on the nightstand. They'll keep the one that they like best, and then they'll go and return the other 4, right? And it's like, you've spent a day shopping for lamps, then you bring them all the way home, then you stand them on your nightstand, you look at them, maybe take a picture, put on Instagram, put a poll or something like that, and then you decide which ones you don't want, and you have to haul them back to the store and stand in another lineup to go and return it to get your in-store credit or your refund or whatever. It's just such a waste of time, right? Because if you're going to be in a long-term relationship with a chick, which usually leads into having kids or something like that, why would you want to do it with a chick that's got an obsession with buying crap and returning it? Before you know it, you're going to be the one staying home all the time looking after the kids while she's shopping and returning shit. It's going to infringe on lifestyle and all these things, right? Like you want a woman that's a complement to your life, not the focus. You want a woman that's useful. You know, women fall in love with guys when they're doing things for us, right? Like they love to take care, right? And if they're tasked with something useful and productive for the relationship, hopefully they're not going to be spending time on addictive pursuits like gossip, like mainstream media, blah, 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 like The Bachelorette or whatever TV show is trending for them that they have to talk about with all their girlfriends. Not having social media is a really, really strong green flag. When I was on this rally this weekend, Moff, we were out in Montreal, and one of my buddies, I brought this girl along with him that he's been dating for about a year. So we're shooting the shit. He knows what I do obviously, and I'm like, so how'd you guys meet, this and that, and why'd you end up selecting her? And he's like, one of the things he said was she doesn't have any social media. She has no drama. Like she has no addictions to anything. She has no drama in her life. Like she doesn't look at crap. Like she legit has a private small Instagram account just for family, and that's it. And there's nobody else on that account. I'm like, that's very good. This 23-year-old chick, right? I'm like, good for you, bud. So you want to look for these notions of red flags. I know you had a chick in your life before that had an addiction to antidepressants as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about?
Oh man, it was everything. Like she was addicted. She was a shopper. She was SSRIs. She watched stupid, dumb reality TV shows. Shopping was a big thing. Like she was one of these chicks that are like, I'll never wear. I need to have a new outfit because I'm going to the Hamptons for the weekend with the girls, and I need to make sure I have new outfits or 3 or 4 new outfits that I'm never going to wear again.
Right.
And I mean, we would have boxes, man, of Amazon Prime just lined up at the door, like 10, 12 new things. And it's just, no, I mean, she paid with her own money, right? But I guess that was fine. But at the same time, it was fun. We told the story before when it came time to maybe looking at a bigger place, or it came time to maybe, hey, I got my hours cut in half when I was working at a job in COVID, which meant my salary got cut in half. Was she going to help chip in for half the rent, for more of the rent? No, I was still expected to pay my exact half while she was spending her surplus of money on shoes and clothes and all that bullshit. Social media was a huge one for her. Yeah, you name it, man. I mean, it's a huge, huge red flag. And a lot of guys aren't going to want to hear this. And this is just the cold hard truth. Like, I'm sorry that this is the world that we live in, guys. But if you're going to be in an LTR with a chick, you need to be the leader in almost pretty much every single aspect. That includes monitoring what she's doing on social media. Tell her she needs to have it private. If she's going to push stuff on her Instagram stories, you need to tell her that it needs to be just her very close friends, family, and you. Like, there's no posting stuff for strangers in any way, shape, or form. If she's spending too much time scrolling stupid TikTok reels or whatever, or Snapchat, like, get those. Like, I don't date girls that have TikTok on their phone. I don't date girls that have Snapchat. I don't date girls that spend their days scrolling Instagram reels and mindless stuff, because everything on there is fake. Everything they see, like, a lot of guys don't understand this. It's everything on there is manufactured, especially if they're looking at couples videos and it's new 2025 couples challenge. And they have these song and dances and things like that. Or even if I'll take it so far as I've said this before, like reading, she can get too involved in that sort of stuff. She starts reading 50 Shades of Grey or all this sort of stuff where you get these ideas in her head that, well, why can't you be more like this fictional character in a book that doesn't exist in real life that somebody just created and wrote? It's like, because that person doesn't exist. So anything can turn into an addiction if she's got that sort of personality. You'll notice this with women that will get super laser focused on one thing for like spurts. Yesterday she wanted to be a model. The next day she wants to go to law school. Now she wants to be a bartender. Now she wants to get her personal trainer. Now she wants to be a realtor. Those are all things you guys should be on the lookout for. But yeah, man, my ex in particular, she had this, her daily cycle was wake up, wake up groggy because she took a sleeping pill the night before to fall asleep. And that's comes into factor because she would get up, have a huge coffee, go get a huge coffee, like a 24-ounce, 36-ounce coffee from Dunkin'. She would drink that throughout the afternoon because she needed to stay awake. And then she'd finish it through 4 or 5 in the afternoon, 3, 4 in the afternoon. And then she could never fall asleep on time because she was still wired from caffeine. So what did she do? She took a sleeping pill. And then it was this crazy thing. And then she would take her SSRIs. And then she had bad side effects from one of the SSRIs. So she had to take another one to counteract the effects of the first SSRI. It was unbelievable, man. So yeah, it's, this is a big one. It doesn't always have to be alcohol and drugs. I mean, that's like a non-starter. If a girl is always drinking, getting fucked up, sloshed, if she has any sort of addiction or does any sort of hard drugs on any sort of regular basis, then that's obviously a non-starter. But don't overlook the shopping addiction. Don't overlook the social media, the attention addiction, the addiction to these slop reality TV shows, and investing a lot of time and energy into the lives of people that don't know you exist.
Yeah. It's draining. Like I was just sitting here feeling my energy just drop in the basement when you're talking about uppers and downers and SSRIs and sleeping pills and the caffeine and the shopping and the new dress. And it's like, I seem to remember a couple of situations anyway. When I was younger, when a chick would be like, "Oh, I have to get a new dress for this event." It's like, you've got like 37 dresses.
Got a whole closet full.
Oh yeah, but I've already worn those before, so I have to get a new one that I haven't worn before. And it's like, that's an obsessive compulsive issue, really. You know what I mean? Like, that's an addiction to trying to do what? Like, make money that you pay taxes on to please people that really don't give a fuck about you because you have to wear a dress or an outfit or something that hasn't already been worn. It's wild to me. It's wild to me. And it's like, that's just a leading red flag. And it's like, I don't want to deal with a chick that's going to create that level of stress, and they want to drag you to the mall. Let's go shopping, and you got to look at it while I try it on. It's like, you already have 37 dresses in your closet. Why don't you try one of those on? I'll tell you which one to wear. Oh no, we got to go to the mall and you got to look at it and see which one it's like, who has time for that shit? Like, how are you going to go out there and put a dent in the universe and chase excellence if you're looking at a chick trying on different dresses? You know what I mean, guys? Like, be discerning with your time, be discerning with your taste. Make sure that you're not letting a woman dominate your life. She has to be a complement to it, not the focus of it, right? It shouldn't be complex for you, right? Guys, the call-in link is pinned to the top of the live chat on YouTube. You can head over there if you want to click it and join in. But we're going to do one more, and then we're going to wrap up the show. So if you have call-in stuff, you might as well do that now.
You jump in now.
The last one that I added, which was an update to the red flag chapter. I think I wrote the book in 2019, 2020, and then I updated the book to the second edition, which had several revisions throughout the book. And I added a 21st red flag, which was won't comply. I don't have the second edition here in front of me, but I know full well what I wrote in there. And essentially what it boils down to is, when you take the time to correct behavior, you can take any example, Moff. She's addicted to social media. She's posting thirst traps every day online. Doesn't matter whatever it happens to be, but she's doing things that are undesirable. She wants to take girls' trips to Vegas and Ibiza, and Miami and Cancun, all sorts, like the standard stuff that we've talked about. And then you try to set a boundary. You try to lead that away from the nonsense, right? And she fights you on it. Oh, why are you so controlling? Why are you so insecure? Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's too many arguments and there's too many fights. That's one of two things. I mean, bottom line, she's not complying, but it's one of two things. She can't be led. She can't enter the frame of a man. And that's entirely plausible. That's a large chunk of a lot of women out there. We see it all the time on ladies' night. We have conversations, with these gals, and we're trying to set them straight. We're trying to explain things to them. And I would say the number that I've observed is something around 80%. Like the vast majority of chicks just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear your opinion. They don't want to hear your guidance. They want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth is what they want at the end of the day. And if that's what you're dealing with and she won't comply, then you have to identify that and just be like, that over there is that thing that is undesirable. This is what I'm expecting out of you. And if you can't do that, then I'm going to know that you don't want to be with me. Basically, what you're saying is, this is my bottom line. And if I see you cross my bottom line, then I'm going to know that you don't want to be with me. You see the bottom line? Don't cross it. You understand? Bottom line right there. Okay. If you have to draw it like that to make it obvious, that's where it's at. Don't cross that bottom line. Right. And if she won't comply and she continuously crosses that bottom line, or she pushes into it, makes a mockery out of it, does any number of things but follow your lead or comply with that boundary, it's very simple. She's just not going to comply. So that's just who she is. There's also another element of it too, as well. Again, if you're not a strong enough leader, if you're not valuable enough, if you're not handsome enough, like if you're not a good enough looking guy, you're going to have a very hard time setting boundaries. Like if you're an absolute dork that doesn't understand what women respond positively to and all that sort of stuff, you're definitely going to struggle setting any kind of boundary whatsoever. I like you, but I can't take a girl seriously that posts thirst traps online, right? She doesn't see you as a high enough value guy. She's going to keep doing it. And then you're either going to have to suck it up and, be her punching bag on that issue, or you're just going to break up and, go your separate ways. But I think it's really important that, again, these red flags are the kind of tests that you're going to issue to see if a chick is going to be useful in your life, is going to be a compliment to it, is going to make a good long-term type of prospect. And one of the things that you have to do is you have to set some boundaries with chicks. And if they're not going to comply with your boundaries, you have to basically cut them loose. It's very simple, right? It's comply or goodbye. Moff?
Yeah. I mean, I summed it up extremely well. I mean, I think the big thing, look, I think there's definitely women out there that no matter how high your value is, and we've talked about this is a basis of a lot of other red flags like daddy issues. If she's not going to follow you, if she doesn't have a strong masculine figure that she can learn from, or that she has learned from, or follow the lead of, it doesn't matter how high level you are. She's just not going to fall into that because she just doesn't respect that and she doesn't see that. But there is a guy out there, for most women, there's a guy out there who she would break all her rules for. There's a guy out there who she would not go to Ibiza for, she would not shop online for, that she would turn her social media private for, that she would fall in line and do everything he says. And if you're not getting that, then you're just not that guy, pal. I mean, that's really just the way to say it. And this is one where a lot of guys will use these red flags to point fingers. Look, am I saying that there's women out there that absolutely are irredeemable? Sure, I will grant that. But I really do believe that most women are malleable creatures that will take the leadership from whoever the strongest, virtuous, most masculine person in her life is. Otherwise, it's going to be the government. So be that guy. And a lot of these problems and a lot of these red flags will dissipate. They will start to go away. And that's what it boils down to, guys. And everybody, you guys can say in the comments, you can say, oh, like it's too much work, juice isn't worth the squeeze, whatever cope you want to throw at it. But that's just the name of the game. And you can play or you cannot play, but you can't change the way that it is. So there's really no sort of reason to continue to try to make things work with a girl who will not listen to you, will not follow your lead, will not take your advice into account, and just tells you what she's going to do, as opposed to seeing what you think about this. I mean, that's also like a middle ground. Like her asking you, hey, would you have a problem if I went on vacation with my ex-boyfriend? Like she's not really asking for permission. She's already made up her mind. Like a girl that's got GBD for you and sees you as that guy would never even entertain that as a potential option in the first place. So, we did this series on this red flag. So you guys will actually follow it, look for it, and identify these and blow past these warning signs at your own peril, man. I know a lot of you guys still will. A lot of you guys are going to wife up single moms and date them, and you're going to find excuses and reasons why. You're going to complicate your life and justify why you'll do it. And you'll call in and we'll just tell you we told you so. So it's better to, what do they say? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's grab Mitch over here and see what he's got for us. What's up,
Hey,
buddy?
what's up, guys? I'm a big fan. So I just want to get your reaction to this story because it's crazy and it happened to me. So basically, the background is I was working at the local ski hill. There was a girl from Poland that was there on a working vacation. We hooked up. She got pregnant the first time. I found out later, and basically, I look back at it now, I totally lost the frame. Like I was like, all right, I'll move you into my house. And I was like just trying to do the right thing, right? So anyway, I was talking to her. I found out like her mom and her dad are split. She was talking to her mom. Her mom kind of convinced her to go back to Poland and give birth to my kid. So she left with the baby. I flew to Poland for the birth to sign the birth certificate, and she denied me, which I was like, felt betrayed. Basically left. She came and visited maybe 2 times after that, just to like, so I can, hang out with this son. And basically it's ended there. Like it was kind of like on the rocks a little bit when she was visiting. She would kind of like give you like a little smack, it started with that. And then it kind of progressed to where she chucked like something at my head as hard as she could when she got angry with me or whatever. And I definitely felt all like the stuff you guys talk about, how it's like she's like progressively like emasculating you. She was very like masculine, not very feminine. I was never intending to like have a relationship with her, and it just happened. And yeah.
How old was this girl?
24 at the time. I was like 27. I'm 30 now.
Yeah, I mean, people are already talking about it in the comments, but I mean, the first thing is a paternity test. The first thing before the paternity test is being in control of the birth, which is one of the red flags we talked about in this series.
I really wanted her to give birth here because in Canada, like he would become a citizen, right? Automatically, which I still think is a go. But anyway, yeah.
So what's the outcome of all this? Are you involved in the kid's life or?
Trying to be, but like it's just she lives far away, right? Poland. I'm in Alberta. And
do you know for certain that this child is yours?
I don't have a 100% paternity test, but I mean, just looking at me and then
giving her
looking
money?
at the kid, it's pretty like.
Are you giving her money?
Am I giving her money? She asked me how I want to support the child. I told her like I would love you to move to Alberta so I can be in this kid's life, raise him, like do all the stuff, hockey, dirt biking, all that stuff. But sorry, what was the question?
How much are you giving her monthly?
Oh, I'm not giving her any. I'm not, because I wasn't able to sign the birth certificate.
Okay, so you're not giving her any kind of support.
No.
Okay, well, I would just call it a write-off. I mean, if she's not coming after you for money and you don't have a paternity test, it's like whatever. It's just she's done what she's done. Poland's way too far away to parent a kid, and she doesn't want you to be part of the kid's life anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it, and I wanted to hear you guys because I look up to you guys and whatnot. So,
well, yeah, I mean, something like 20 to 30% of the time, there's paternity fraud going on, right?
Yeah, it could be someone else's.
It's a much higher number than guys think. And it's even higher in different cultures and different countries. I think Jamaican chicks are like off the chart. It's something like 45% of the time, it's a situation of paternity fraud, right? So it's like, you can't, just because she says, oh, I'm pregnant, you can't assume that it's yours. If you really want to like fuck your mind over, go read a book called Sperm Wars by Robin Baker, and you'll understand how duplicitous and how deceiving human reproduction really is.
Well, yeah, and she was like talking about other guys while she was here. Like it was like a one night stand, right? So
right. Right.
Yeah, it could be someone else's. I mean, he looks identical to me, so I kind of lean towards it is, which is a sad situation. It's kind of just I just have to move on. Like I've been seeing other people just kind of trying to, do the work, man. I mean, I've been honestly like I live in Canada. I've just been considering like, do I just bail because Canada is so bad right now? I'm like, do I just go and live in Thailand or the Philippines?
Well, what's your plan, man? Like, is this the question that you're asking us?
Oh, I mean, I just wanted to hear what you guys had to say about my story and wanted to share it.
It sounds like you dodged a bullet, man.
Yeah, you dodged a bullet.
Right, you got a chick throwing shit at your fucking head and you're trying to save the relationship. What the fuck? Like, I get
Yeah,
that it's your kid, man, but you're 30 years old. Like, you can go have more kids. You can go find girls that are going to be in your frame. You can go find other women. Like, do you have no proof that this kid is yours? She's already asking you for fucking money. Like, the fact that you're even entertaining this girl anymore is fucking insane. Like, you need to cut this completely out of your life and move on.
Yeah, I don't know. I've already cut it off, like, actually many months ago. And yeah.
Okay. Then onward and upward, man.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to find a lot more of that insanity in Canada. That's just the way Canada is, though, right? I mean, you're going to have to dig through a lot of dirt to find gold. And, at the end of the day, the key to all of this is to be as attractive and as valuable in a sexual marketplace so that you're the one spoiled for choice, so that you can repel the psychopaths and so that you can attract more beautiful women and be selected from the pool of beautiful women that are interested in you. I mean, Polish women are generally pretty hot. I don't think I've met too many gross Polish women, but I'm surprised to hear that she behaved the way that she did, being Polish. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's kind of like one of these things where it just happens, and she's pregnant, and it's like we're both trying to make this work like a movie, like Knocked Up. And I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking in the back of my head,
no,
like,
dude, the first thing you do if a chick gets pregnant and says, "Surprise, I'm pregnant," I'm on a paternity test.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Dude, even if I was married to a good chick that I vetted and is in my frame, I would still get a paternity test. I want 100% fucking assurance that is mine. That's it. It's simple. And she shouldn't protest. She has 100% assurance because she gives birth to the child, that the child is hers. Men never have that assurance. You should always get a paternity test.
Dating in the West is really bad right now. Like, I've been through the ringer, man. Like, name the thing that bad can happen from dating chicks.
80% of women suck. We've seen it on ladies' night. There's a small percentage of women that don't suck that are usually in a relationship, or they're usually older and they figure out how not to suck when they get older. But Moff and I have talked about this many times. Most of the gals out there in the West aren't worthy of a long-term relationship. Aaron Cleary has a book called The Book of Numbers. I can't remember what the final number was, but it's exceptionally low. It's something like you've only got like a 3 or 4% chance of finding a chick that's worthy of a long-term relationship that you can maintain, if you even know how to deal with women.
And you have to maintain it all the whole time.
And it's not like the answer is just go to Asia or be a passport bro, because if you don't know what the fuck you're doing here, you're still not going to know what you're doing in Thailand or Colombia or whatever. You have to understand female nature regardless of where you're at. It's just that your value appears to be slightly higher in places like Thailand or Colombia or whatever, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just like sick of participating in Canada right now. Like, just being in the workforce of Canada and just seeing what has become of the country. It's like, man.
Why aren't you part of the community? We haven't seen you in there. Chris is making an excellent point.
Yeah, I just watch it like casually. Unsubscribe.
Join, man. Get involved. Consume the content like. There's a vetting series that we have in the school community that's just over 3.5 hours long that walks you through how to vet a chick for a long-term relationship. Because if that's what you're looking for, which is what most guys are after, you need to understand all of those steps, right? And it's in a well-organized course. You get other guys that you can talk to. I just watched one of the professors we got in there. Spencer put together a really good Zoom the other day. I don't know if you saw it, Moff, but I sort of played in the background while I was doing some work today on Instagram and sourcing better quality, more attractive women from. Like he put together really good material. You guys are really missing out.
It works, man.
Watching the shows is a good starting place, guys. But if you're interested in having better relationships with women and getting more of what you want out of relationships with women, it's $50 a month. I mean, you'll spend that on a date with a bimbo that won't even fucking touch you, but you won't put the time into increasing your value or understanding these concepts, guys.
Yeah, careful who you, nut inside of.
Well, you've learned your lesson.
Yeah.
Thanks for popping in, man. We'll see you later. All right, let's grab Jay over here and see what he's got for us. Jay, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, guys? How you doing, Moff? Rich?
Hey,
Listen, I'm in Sydney, Australia. My impression of the the modern women today really can be summed up. I don't know whether you guys have seen the story of Elizabeth Teckenbrock. Okay, so this is the woman who she claimed that she had stage 4 cancer. She embezzled, you know.
Oh yeah, there's a Netflix special on this chick. Yeah.
Yeah, but over the last week and a half or so, it seems like the whole of the internet are suddenly waking up to this woman being a fraud. I mean, she is the embodiment of a red flag drama queen, addicted to, being on the internet. She effectively used the internet to deceive everyone that she was dying of cancer, to accuse her ex-husband of physical abuse and psychological abuse. Everything in the book, essentially. The interesting thing for me, guys, and I'd like to get your take on it, is this: do you really think it's a surprise that we are now seeing in most parts of the world, most women now have a psychological or personality disorder?
I wouldn't say most, but here, I'll just quickly look up the stat just on another window over here, but it's a very high percentage of women that are on antidepressants or some kind of medication for personality issues. Where's Grok at? Let me pull it up over here. I wouldn't say most though, but a substantially higher proportion per capita in the female population, definitely for sure. Yeah. That's an extreme example. The girl that he's talking about, like, I'm not sure if you've seen the special, Moff, but she basically feigned like brain cancer, and she put together this program and this course on clean eating and stuff, which is good, and nice at all, because it teaches women how to eat good food and what good food looks like, sort of thing. But she sold it all based on the premise of, I cured my brain cancer by eating this food. And then, it was all, you go girl, you're so strong and brave, we're all here to support you, all this sort of shit. But she was full of it, apparently, like the whole time. So you're going to get that with people. Like, there's snake oil salesmen out there everywhere that will say, I cured my disease or whatever by doing this, so buy my that, sort of thing. But yeah, you've got to be careful. I mean, that's why I put the red flags together for you guys, so that you can sort of size up these chicks, see what they're made of, see how they respond to certain challenges, certain boundaries, certain questioning, if you will. And if they give you a hard time, and look, man, like, some of these deceptive or duplicative women, they can run a gamut for a while. Like, I've seen guys that have had the wool pulled over their eyes for much longer than a few weeks or a month or two, like months, right? So, yeah, the best way to suss them out is just watch their behavior. Don't listen to what they say, just watch their behavior and question it.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the reasons why I suppose I went to that sort of hyperbolic range is because my theory is this: we all agree now that most women essentially are not attracted to most men. But you see, if you say if someone says to you, "Oh, I literally can't eat most foods. I don't like most food that's out there. I don't eat. There's only a small percentage or small amount of food that I can eat." We would say that person's got an eating disorder. So when you've got, as a result of social media, apps, and a number of other, if you like, external forces by design, if you like, transitioning or modifying women's behavior or attitude towards men, then you're looking at really a large percent, because this is only going to get worse. You're looking at a greater percentage of women who are now falling under this personality disorder.
Right. So here's your numbers over here, bud. So you've got about 15% of U.S. adults meeting diagnostic criteria for at least one personality disorder. Estimates are around 9 to 15% of the adult population. So they're not breaking it down by women. Like, I asked specifically, what percentage of women have a personality disorder over 30? 16%. And then down over here, they talk about BPD is diagnosed more frequently with women, with about 75% of diagnosis in clinical settings being female. So the vast majority of BPD, which is the first red flag essentially is daddy issues is very highly correlated with BPD, and I talked about that specifically in that one. You have to go back a few episodes to see the first three. But yeah, you're like, it's not most, but there's certainly a large percentage of women that have some kind of manic, BPD, depressive, whatever the hell it happens to be. You've got everything here from 21%, 40 to 50%, depending on the category that they're looking at, 14.9%, 9 to 15%. But yes, it does exist. I mean, there's no question about it, which is, again, why you have to watch the behavior, see what they're made of, see what they do in certain, scenarios, right? You just can't. Oh, and by the way, the easiest way to sort of get to this is just go to her medicine cabinet, right? Like, she's going to keep her meds somewhere. A lot of dudes ask for like nudes and stuff like that. Instead of asking for nudes, you should ask her for a photograph from her medicine cabinet before you go out on a date with her. But they're not going to do that. You see what I'm saying? But like, just, open up the medicine cabinet in your bathroom. Okay. You're taking a shower and you have a look around. Okay. So this is what we got. Take a quick photograph, go look it up later on and see what she's on and see why she's prescribed these things. Right. You got to do your own homework.
I don't think that's the argument he's making, Rich. Jay, like, if I view correctly, you're basically saying hypergamy is like a disorder. The fact that most women don't want most men, you're calling that a disorder. I don't agree with that contention at all. It's how humans have evolved since the beginning of time. Like, I mean, there's something like only 40% of men have only ever passed along there. Like 60% of men's bloodlines have died out, and only 40% of men have passed on their DNA to this generation now. But like 99% of women have passed on their DNA. Like, it's very rare for a woman to not be able to reproduce.
I think
so it's just,
with all due respect, just to make it clear.
Yeah, please clarify.
My standpoint comes from the clear evidence. It's certainly in the Western world that 100 years ago, the average man was guaranteed to get the average woman. Today, the average man is not attracted to the average woman. Now, this is, I don't believe it's because women are evil.
I think you might have that backwards. Do you mean the average woman's not attracted to the average man?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So the average woman is not attracted to the average man. So I don't believe that this is because they're evil or whatever. I do believe there are external factors that are contributing to this. For example, there's a very good reason why most countries now are below replacement level. If most women aren't attracted to most men, well, they're not getting into relationships and they're not starting families and they're not having kids.
So what the problem with that, though, is
women don't give a fuck about the birth rate, though. Like, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
No,
but
of course they don't.
But I mean, the other point to this, though, is that you're talking about most women aren't attracted to most men, right? You're essentially talking about hypergamy as a driving factor, which it is. I mean, it's proven, but the end state of hypergamy isn't monogamy. Like, it's not one man, one woman. You can clearly see that not working today, and it hasn't worked that way for hundreds of thousands of years. The end state of hypergamy is polygyny, because it functionally ensures that women have to share men, right? Or have to share a man. Because if women are hypergamous and they want the best that they can get, and not every guy is the best that a woman can get, then they functionally have to share the top shelf men.
But can you agree, can we all agree, though, that certainly, 70, 80 years ago, most men, without being entrepreneurs, without being, CEOs of businesses or whatever else, even just working at the local bakery, was guaranteed to find a virgin and was able to actually financially support her.
Your granddad and your great granddad got a woman that was far better with half the headaches, probably. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I mean, back then, just having a job at a toothpaste factory, screwing in a toothpaste cap, meant that you could buy a house and have a white picket fence and a car and your 4 kids and all that sort of stuff. They could still manage all that, but times have changed dramatically. We've had birth control, we've had social media. Birth control has been a big shift, for women. It's given them a lot more freedom. They can have sex very safely, like 99% of the time they won't get pregnant. They don't have to worry about the guy leaving them or not paying for any kind of support. They can just have free sex as much as they want. So that certainly changed the social contract, but but it hasn't changed what women want. Women still want the same thing. They still want a top shelf guy that they can lock down, right? And guys are getting smart now, right? They're not allowing chaotic nightmare type of women into their lives. And a lot of the times, the guys that are dealing with women that are on the top shelf, they're not just dealing with one chick. They're not monogamous. They end up usually having more than one. That's just the way that it is. I mean, like, this is the way that women want to behave. And then, men got to just look at the landscape and just be like, oh, okay, well, I see how things are. It's like walking down the street and seeing a piece of shit and getting mad at it. You don't get mad at it. You just know that it's a piece of shit. And you walk around and you carry on, with your day, right? Like, what, you just know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I say, I just turned 58 2 days ago, and I'm single. I've been through every single type of woman with all the different red flags, and as much as I don't want to err on the side of taking ownership of my part in those relationship breakdowns or whatever else, if you look into my history, every vice, if you say, that the modern woman has was represented in every single one of those relationships. I mean, it's basically a manual in itself. But I've been able at my age to be able to step back and say, okay, are there any driving factors? Because my life is one thing, but when I'm seeing you guys in Canada, guys over in the States, guys over in the UK, there's something there's something very suspicious about the way this whole thing's been is sort of converging, if you like.
What do you find most suspicious about it all?
Well, I mean, look, Rich, you just mentioned very eloquently the fact that the economic situation has changed such that whereas before the average dude could afford to look after a family just working in a bakery, that's not the case today. The knock-on effect psychologically for women, rightfully so, is, they're looking for a husband who, by their own standards, has to be earning top end of five figures, at least six-figure income. Not everybody can do that, guys. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur.
And a lot of women are earning a lot more money, more so than ever before. And because they're hypergamous, they don't want to, put their assets on the line to be with a guy that's less valuable than them, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned about the sexual revolution as well. See, all these things have been timed strategically to ensure, hey, guess what? Human beings cannot sustain, family or relationships in the way we used to do. And in actual fact, that's not the end goal.
It's much harder. It's much, much harder. It's not that people don't do it. It's just like, you see people in the chat all the time. Like, we've got regulars here, like Deb, she's been married forever. She's a seasoned lady, and, she talks about her marriage, from time to time. She's called in sort of stuff and shared some ideas. But like that type of avatar, the type of woman that you're looking at, she's just rarer. I mean, there's some out there, like, again, if you go to the Ladies Night series, and, I keep going back to it because that's why Moff and I put that together from the get-go, so that we could have some conversation with the gals and we could show you guys what they're about and how they respond to certain dialogues and ideas, and, if they would be responsive to some guidance and stuff like that. And it's like, they're not. The vast majority of them suck. The vast majority of women on Ladies Night are only good for one thing, unfortunately. And that's just the grim reality of it. And the ones that are the better ladies, there's fewer of them. They're either in a happy long-term relationship or they get it. They unfortunately usually get it a little bit too late. But they do get it eventually, usually. But that's just, dude, like, it is what it is. I wish I could wave a magic wand and put you in a time machine and send you back to your great-granddad's era. And, you'd probably have a happier, easier life. Certainly an easier life, right? You probably get the vast majority of the stuff that you'd want out of life with less of the headaches. But that's just the landscape that we're in today. And we have these conversations with you guys. It's like, guys, this is the way shit is. Just accept it. Don't get mad at it. Navigate it accordingly. All we're doing is giving you a map and saying landmine, landmine, landmine here. Like, these are all the, all the hazards. Just walk around them. And there's a lot more of them today than what there were 2 generations ago. You're right about that.
I mean, as I say, for myself, 58, in a few months' time, I'm going to have to leave Australia, quite frankly, because the chances or the odds of me finding a decent woman, even at my age, look, I look after myself. I'm in the gym. I do all right for myself. I'm into AI. But the chance of me finding a red flag is pretty high. The chances of me finding a decent woman are greater if I leave the country. So I can't go back to my native UK. US is out, Canada's out, New Zealand's out, you know? So really I'm looking South America and Southeast Asia.
Yeah. And a lot of guys do that. But again, the passport bro movement is something that's talked about by a lot of guys. Just make sure that you're the guy that gets how women operate, so that you're not like, the grass is greener where you water and fertilize it. So if you're going to water and fertilize it in South America, go there and do your thing, but know your shit. That's all I'm saying. Because women are women all the way around the world. I mean, they're all going to do the exact same thing. It's like, oh, the women are better in Asia. They're probably more feminine. They're probably more about like standard family values. Your value is probably going to be higher. Your money will probably go farther, sort of thing. So there's some slight advantages, but it's not a game changer.
Sure.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jay. See you, buddy. All right, let's grab CG over here. What's up, buddy? CG.
Hey, fellas, how's it going? So I have a story to share about this drama queen thing.
Mhm.
I had an old coworker. This happened like 20 years ago, fellas. She says, all women love some degree of drama.
Yes.
And they're going to tell you, if somebody ever tells you or denies it or say that's not true, they're lying. And it's rang true ever since. I know it's anecdotal, but I could probably count on both my hands how many women have agreed with that statement from another woman.
Mhm.
This was 20 years ago, man. And I thought she was just trolling me at the time, but it rang true, man. And so like that red flag is spot on. Now the level of drama varies, right? It could be just something like shows, like you're saying, but all the other stuff you guys covered, it's been spot on ever since, man. It's kind of wild to me, but I just wanted to kind of share that experience, and it's spot on.
Every once in a while you get a gal that might be on ladies night or even just a call-in or something like that, and just like, I mostly have guy friends because I can't deal with the drama that women kick up, sort of thing. And I get it, but I mean, there's the other problem with her having guy friends too, right? But women I don't know, there's a saying, or I don't know, maybe it was a stand-up or something, Moff, you can correct me, but there's something along the lines, like women want you to like women, but even women don't even like women, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just wanted to share that quick story. I thought it resonated and it went well with the show. Quick shout out to Spencer. I happened to be on that call. It was spot on, man. So just a shout out to the community. If you guys are on the fence, I definitely recommend joining. It's been a great help, and it's a good group of guys out there, man. So
thanks,
glad
man.
to be a part of it.
Appreciate it,
bro.
Yeah, that's a great little testimonial. So again, the community tab, it's entrepreneursandcars.com/community. You can see that in a ticker below. You will get your money's worth and a ton more out of it. Like you just said, he was on the same Zoom call that I had playing in the background. It's like these guys that are bringing you content on new Zoom calls, with the recordings, with my Zoom calls, with Moff Zoom calls, with all the material that we have already in the classroom section. This is stuff that's considerably more valuable than the $49 a month. That's the maintenance fee for it. And it helps us put out content like this. And, we pull a lot of good stories and examples from many of these private, discussions that we have with our own tribe on the inside. So, if this is something you guys are sitting on the fence on, or sitting on the outside going, gee, I wish I had a little more of this, that, or the other thing, or a community, like, guys, $49 a month, get in there. It's worth a ton more than that. We got anything else we got to cover before we wrap up, Moff?
My final point, man, is like, guys, I don't care about 100 years ago. I don't care how easy it was 50 years ago. I don't care how women have changed. I don't care that they have these standards. You need to figure it out. That's it. Like, you can, or build a time machine. Those are your two options.
Yeah. Figure it
play
out.
Or you don't play, but you don't change the game. And like whinging and complaining that things are hard now, and complaining that you have to work harder for lesser quality women, or all of this nonsense that guys want to keep saying, look, man, you'll never get me to change my mind on this fact. If you keep running into problem women and the only women that are in your orbit are problem women, then the problem is you, not the women.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm sorry, man. Like I refuse to give in to this woe is me crap. This every woman that I have is fucking red flags and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, what's your plan? What are you going to do about it? Because the universe only cares about what you do. The universe only cares about what actions you put into play. You can complain all day long, but complaining and crying and whining about the state of things is not going to change or improve your plight. So get to work, man. That's really what it's always been about.
Yeah, get to work building a time machine, or get to work increasing your value.
We can figure it. Like you can get the results you want, but you got to apply the work, and maybe you got to do more work. You probably have to do vastly more work than you ever thought you had to. I mean, ask any entrepreneur, how much work was it to start the business? Was it more work than you ever thought? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was astronomically higher than you ever thought it would be. It's
way more work to try to build a time machine than to fix your own shit. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And like 100 years ago, you didn't have the, like, yeah. I mean, here,
but dude, how many guys have we seen?
Sucked. You had to put a ring on it to get something. You didn't, you had to marry the girl just to get laid. You don't have to do that now, guys. I mean, again, the doom and gloom stuff, figure out a way, man, because somebody's going after what you want. Somebody's going after the money you want. Some other guy's going after the women you want. You're either going to let that guy beat you or you're going to beat him, but it's up to you.
Thank you, Moff, for saying that. That's a great final note. So guys, we'll, wrap it up on that. You've got a ladies' night tomorrow. I guess TC's running it.
Yeah, but I'll be watching with my popcorn.
Cool. TC will be on with Spence tomorrow night. We'll check it out. And I'll do a TUA show on Wednesday. You doing anything on Thursday?
We'll have office hours at 12 noon.
Cool. We'll see you guys later. Have an awesome night. All right, guys. If you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links mentioned during the show. Peace.